thương nhau, những con người bao đời vui buồn cùng sát chia nhau.
Hello, everybody.
How's it going?
Yep, welcome back to Drunk Brad and Drunk Sam. Yep, another delightful episode. Now, we were just talking about the ideas of traveling, in particular, the different styles of traveling. The quick once through, pass through the city, pass through the country. I got 10 days, got to make it happen on one end of the gamut. And on the other end, kicking back and relaxing for 6 months. They're two different worlds, really.
Two very different mindsets on how you travel, definitely.
So Sam, what's your story?
I've been living here in Hue, Vietnam, for about a year and a half now, roughly. By chance, had no plan to come here. One-way ticket out of home again, and just ended up here by chance. Which sort of ties in with my mindset on traveling and how to do it.
Oh yeah, what you mean is just get a one-way ticket sometimes.
Just go and try and land on your feet.
Sure.
Land in the deep end.
Well, and that sort of happened too. Well, it actually did happen. You got a job independently?
Within 7 days. Within 7 days I came, and mind you, I was not so much nervous coming here, but I had no plans. I had no income, I had no plan, I had no family. I had friends here scattered across the country, but I wouldn't really say they were, of any help to me. So I came here with nothing basically, and yeah, you can make it work. You can make it work.
Yeah, buddy.
Yep.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, when I first came here, I didn't want to obviously hop into contracts and this and that. No, I just came specifically the first month to do nothing and just relax and drink beer and eat food. If you're planning on a long-term trip, definitely you got to put in some cushion when you first get here. And I think that's kind of what we're talking about. For people that only have a 10-day trip here, one minor thing that people just forget is that they're humans. What that means is there's a degree of adjustment that a human has got to go through when you change environments, change weather, change food, change your salt intake, change your sleep schedule, change the weather, you're gonna get sick. You're gonna need a week to chill and to just get used to it all. So that's one big thing I would say when you're wanting to come to Vietnam. Plan on at least a week to just chill.
Yeah,
wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely. And I think if you're coming to a country like Vietnam, which similar to America, people say it's like many different countries within a country, which is so true. Different cultures, different food, different dialects, different behavior, everything changes, different scenery, everything in the book changes. So you sort of need to figure out, in my opinion, how much time can you really allocate to coming here? How much time can you truly allocate? And if it is just 10 days, then you need to really sort of think about how you want to do it. Because the majority of people right now are traveling in this country, and probably all over the world, in the wrong way, in my opinion. Just trying to tick off their bucket list.
Right. Yep. The tick.
Just trying to see as many things as they can in a short period of time, and not actually be present and enjoy anything.
Well, yeah, you brought up the example of being in a taxi cab and then doing 10 photo ops, along a trip.
Yeah, exactly,
right?
Exactly. Just having a bucket list for the day and going and ticking off the bucket list, but not really enjoying anything, not spending any time anywhere that you're actually going to see. Not just like being present without being introspective, not being present at where you are.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Whether it be some entertainment, or whether it's a sightseeing place, or whether it's a historical place, which I think being present is more important there, personally. But yeah. Yeah,
certainly. I get a lot of folks who are to pick one end of the gamut. I've had folks ask me the question well, Brad, we've got 14 days in Vietnam and we want to see 15 cities, and which includes, do the math, 10, 15 bus tickets, train tickets, plane tickets, they have ferry rides, you name it, and it's just out of hand. And I'm just thinking to myself, gosh, the maximum amount of time you're in any one location is 18 hours. 9 of that is sleeping, a couple of that is food, and then a bunch of hours of that is planning your next trip, where you're going to be going next. So you're basically effectively living on a train or living in a bus, the majority of your trip here, which is absurd. Now, if you've never been here before and no one's ever told you this, it sounds reasonable. I want to see as much as possible. But that's not the definition of success, in my opinion.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Yeah, and I've been there with that kind of mindset, having the bucket list and having X amount of time and trying to do. You know, you've got your tick list that you've got to try and do, but it's definitely not the way to do it.
Yeah, you evolve, or a person evolves ideally.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, exactly.
And I've been there myself, and I mean, along the way, there's the staying at hostels aspect, which I stand behind that. That's super fun, and I've done that for years, and it is great. I went through Europe that way. At some point, you got to decide: are you there to stay at hostels and go and party at hostels and/or get laid and drink beer? And nothing wrong with any of that.
Yeah,
but
if that's your goal, great. But
Yeah.
If you really want to make it, you know, something special. Because for me personally, I did the same thing, and that got old. It comes to an end where you say, all right, cool, I'm sort of done, you know. It's like, you might as well be in your backyard at home, because at the end of the day, you're staying at the hostel, you're drinking, you're eating, you're going to sleep, you're waking up again. It's not really, the location doesn't really vary.
Right.
You know, you're just going to a new sort of accommodation.
Right. Maybe the equivalent of like if you want to go to Mexico and stay at a Mexican resort where they all speak English and have Western food. What's the point of going to Mexico?
Yeah.
At that point,
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
I mean, and then then you go back home, take some photos on the beach, and say, "Been to Mexico."
Exactly.
If that's what you want to do, more power to you. Okay. Yeah. But we're just saying that's not the same as really living and breathing a place in an area.
Yeah,
is that kind of the big idea?
Taking in the culture, getting to know the people, you know, like...
We're the only white guys here.
Yeah.
Let's just say.
Fire it down. Yeah.
So anyway, what advice would you have for somebody if they have, let's say, 2 weeks, 14 days in Vietnam? What would you tell them?
I would say cut it off to, well, I'd consider Vietnam having 3 portions, obviously, having the center or the central area, south and north. I'd probably do a little bit of research, but don't over-research it on what kind of things you like to do. If you like busy cities, probably split up Hanoi and Saigon for a week each. If you like trekking and stuff, you probably want to go north of Hanoi. But the main point is to allocate minimum 4 to 5 days in one location, really, because you're not going to really experience anything great in 1 to 2 days anywhere. I don't care who you are, you just can't. You can't. There's not enough time. You're sleeping for 1/3 of the day, ideally. Commuting, etc., all the necessities of daily activity. And then in that small period of time you got left, you're just trying to fill that bucket list we talk about in, which is not the right way to do it. So I'd say if you're coming to Vietnam for 14 days, I say pick 2 portions, and then in those portions, pick 2 cities where you're going to base yourself.
Adjacent, you know.
Yeah, whatever. So whether it be South Vietnam, Saigon for a week, and you can still get a bit of done, but probably the most important advice I'd say is leave close to 50% of that time where you have 0 plan. Like, where you have 0 plan. Like, almost try and let yourself be bored, as crazy as that sounds, because that's when the strange things will happen. When you get out of your comfort zone, you'll meet new people, you'll go to some birthday or wedding you just randomly invited to, like something, just all the impromptu stuff, the real memories. Because all the stuff I've planned and all the trips I've had to other countries, they have been probably the least memorable, ironically. And the best memories I've got are the ones where I've just been in weird situations where I've had no plan. So I'd say that especially applies to Vietnam and their culture, because it's so welcoming and warm, and you know, anybody's your friend. It doesn't take a year to get to know somebody. It's like, I've met you just now, cool, come to my house, come to my party, you're invited, you're part of the family now. Yeah. So for someone traveling to Vietnam, I'd say let yourself just chill in a place for at least half the time. I'd say 1 city, no less than 4 days. And I know that seems ridiculous, and you're going to go home and say, I only went to 3 cities in 14 days, and people will say, oh, you could have done, it's wrong. You can't do 10 cities in 14 days. You can't do 9 cities or 8 cities.
No.
You're not experiencing anything, really.
Yeah, I would definitely say.
I would put it down. I would put that kind of traveling more down to words like stress, commuting, chaos, over-organising. I wouldn't say they're a perfect itinerary like people try to create.
It's a trap.
The people with less plans when they travel actually ends up being the better experience in the end.
Right. And along the way, like there's actually the idea of motorbiking. Let's just kind of focus on that
Given
because
you've got time, it's a great option.
oh, that's a great option. And a lot of people want to do that in Vietnam, and I really recommend it. I've done it 3 times. Been across the country of Vietnam. It's awesome. Same advice though. Don't be in a hurry. There's some
Yeah,
people.
don't be in a hurry.
Yeah, there's some people who are like, oh, I can do 300 kilometers in a day, and that's 1,000 kilometers away. I'll be there in 3.5 days.
You're putting like a mental burden on yourself having that mindset. You really are. You're beginning the day with saying, I've got to achieve this by the end of the day. It's no different from working back home in your home country. I've got to achieve this before I finish at 5 p.m. I've got to achieve 300 kilometers before 5 p.m. And then it doesn't really allow any time for stopping, meeting new people, random things to happen. Because you're trying to hit this, this marker you've got. And, that sort of inhibits anything new or strange or exciting happening.
Yeah, random, yeah. Like as an example, I was biking alone, of course, on one of my trips, and I stopped for a coffee, and this was middle of the country, Quang Ai kind of area. But regardless, I had some coffee with some people, and they were super nice, and they were just said, would you like a beer? Great question. Yes. Fast forward 3 hours. Yeah, I ended up eating with them, staying, and overnight I ended up staying with them the entire night. They gave me a guest room, and we became great friends. The next day, wave goodbye, that kind of thing. But I wasn't in a hurry. I got nowhere to be. I don't have to be there by tomorrow. Kind of like in. So it was a beautiful experience, but it was possible because I don't have this special, hardcore time commitments.
Right.
When I was with my friends on this latest trip, we planned like 4 or 5 days extra, just X Factor days. X Factor. Motorbike breaks down. Meh. We're having fun in an area. Meh. We don't want to leave today. Meh. We're too hungover. Sure, whatever. Pick your favorite. But by having like 5 extra cushion days on top of it, yeah, it took all the stress out of it. Now we're driving and because it's fun, because we want to, not because we have to. That kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Now, when it comes to, let's say, booking stuff in advance, would you say maybe book half of it, or book a third of it, or none of it, or all of it? What would you say?
Today, presently, I would say you can do everything on the run. It's just as convenient doing everything on the go. You might have a rough idea of where you want to go. Accommodation can be booked the day before. It's often cheaper. Transport, booked a minute before. So there's 2 things you don't really need to plan for. Sightseeing, I would say probably not. It's helpful to do a bit of research before you go, but in terms of planning, don't plan. The best things I've ever seen were the things that they didn't even know about, And that sort of makes a strong reference to the internet. The internet skews people's idea of traveling very strongly now, in a negative way a lot of the time. And some of it's good, but like a few examples are sightseeing. Where we live now, currently Hue, the best sightseeing places on TripAdvisor. Yes, they're good and touristic, but they're definitely not my favourite by far in the city. Restaurants, the best restaurants on TripAdvisor in my city are probably my least liked for many reasons. I mean, they're still fine, but one, they're overpriced. It's like going to a Western restaurant, more or less, back home. So once again, depends on what you're into, but you're not going to get really any sort of cultural or new experience if you do that. And you might as well just stay home. You're eating at a Western style restaurant in a different country.
Have a steak there.
It doesn't really count for much. And each to their own. If you like that, it's fine. That's cool. But for those people wanting to, do something different, you do need to steer clear of that stuff. And it's quite hard to it's a habit. It's like a really bad habit to pick up your phone and TripAdvisor everything. And I've done that a million times myself. But the less you do it, the better your travel experience gets, for sure. For sure.
Well, in my own experience, to bring up an example mistake that I made recently. Oh, I'm about to go to Thailand. Well, I'm just going to pick the highest rated city with the most TripAdvisor results of some kind. Oh, Phuket, Thailand. That looks pretty happening. 5-star everything. It was a disaster. I hated every moment of being there, and I couldn't wait to leave. It's the whitest city I've ever. Salesmen everywhere, you know, and all of the bad aspects of Thailand were all there. You know, it was just awful, overpriced. Oh yeah, you know, it was just awful. I didn't feel like I was in Thailand at all. I felt like I'm a consumer, frankly. You know, like people just look at, people just look at me like there's another rich white guy we could take advantage of or whatever. It was not Thailand at all, and it was a disaster. Then I realized in retrospect, oh, I found this because I went to TripAdvisor, which is filled with Westerners that went to said place because they saw it on. Yeah, go figure.
So don't be surprised anymore.
Right. If you go to the highest rated place on TripAdvisor, don't be surprised when it's filled with white people. You know, and it's not actually Vietnam. Come on. Now, this place this restaurant right here is not on TripAdvisor, let's just say. But it's a beautiful Lotus restaurant here. Low prices, filled with Vietnamese people, good everything, nice neighborhood, that'll work. So, if you want to have a good experience, go where there is no TripAdvisor. You're going to be better off. I would say. That's a simple piece of advice. Definitely. Yeah, if they got TripAdvisor reviews, don't go. Right. Pretty much.
To some extent, yeah, definitely.
Okay, but packing. About packing, what would you say about that?
Minimalist. I know that sounds broad, but yeah, pack minimal. You're not going to use probably 3/4 of what you take. And point two is that most of it's cheaper here just to buy on the run anyway.
Yeah.
When you need it, which is more often than not you don't need it. I was definitely like an overpacker. But fuck, it's just a fucking pain in the ass in the end. It's just you're lugging a lot of shit you're not going to use. You need clothes, you need the basics, and then after that you don't need much more. And then if you do need to buy it, there's some more fun in the experience of buying it at some random place overseas. And then, you know, it sort of just continuously opens new doors. Whereas the people that bring seven pieces of luggage and they've got they've taken half their house with them. You know what I mean? They're the kind of people that stay in the hotel for the 14 days they're in Vietnam as well. So
more power to them, but yeah, I know. Because if you want to be mobile, and agile, Yep.
So with packing, I just think pack the essentials. It's really just going to be clothes, really.
If that, I mean, I've got a buddy of mine.
They can be purchased here for fucking next to nothing, peanuts.
Right.
So once again, and it's just that there's no obstacles here with that kind of stuff. So
right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, necessity. I got a buddy of mine. When he travels, he's an older guy. A fanny pack. That's it. That's it. I mean, you need a toothbrush. Buy a toothbrush and throw it away. What are you talking about? 50 cents? I mean, come on now. Buy a shirt, wear it once and throw it away. Or you re-wear it, whatever. Wash it in the sink. But no matter what, he's just like, I don't bring any luggage ever, you know? So that's kind of slick.
I respect that for sure. And like having less with you, not just in terms of physical burden, like of having to lug a lot of shit with you, but it mitigates like a mental aspect. You feel like you're a bit more free. You're not always checking if you've got everything. You're not always packing and unpacking and, you know, make it just really, that's probably a bigger aspect for me, is having less on me. I've got to take care of less and, you know, it makes the traveling much easier. You feel like you've just got your body, your wallet and your clothes and good to go. Whereas the other people have got their they're always, you're spending half their trip, they're losing even more time in the new country, checking, unpacking, packing again, you know?
Right. If you got nothing but a fanny pack.
A ripple effect, really.
Yeah, if you got nothing but a fanny pack, you're doing okay. Yeah, no, it's kind of hard to mess that up.
Right.